Welcome to another Consults Over Coffee. I'm Dr. Michael Jones, and my guest today is Sophie Laleo, owner of True Bleu Healing Arts here in Richmond, Virginia. She's here to discuss complementary and alternative medical practices. It's a fascinating discussion, and I think you'll really enjoy it. All right, well, welcome to another Consults Over Coffee. I'm Dr. Michael Jones, and I am joined today by Sophie Laleo, who is the owner of True Bleu Healing Arts. And I
Hi.
think, I think I've known you since you opened the business. It's been what, 7, 8 years,
It's
something
been,
like that.
well, I think I met you right after, probably like 3 years in, because well, yeah. Oh, you're saying, yeah. So that's correct, actually. I opened 6 years ago.
Yeah, because you were ramping up, you were starting, or like you had a plan when we met.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember being blown away because at the time you were 21,
I
right?
was I was not 21. I was 24. I was 21 when I started massage.
Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
But you were young and it was like, and you had this really ambitious plan and you were seeing it through. And I thought, damn, man, for somebody I thought I clearly didn't have my act that together when I was your age,
Yeah.
and I just remember being like, you know what, here's somebody that knows what they really want to do and is setting about making it happen. And I was just really blown away by that and just really impressed by that level of maturity and insight at that age. So tell us a little bit about True Bleu Healing Arts.
True Blue Healing Arts is a small business in Richmond, Virginia now. It started in Louisiana, actually. Um, Hence the BLEU. It makes a lot
All
more
right,
sense. It makes a lot more sense
it
in
does
Cajun
now, right?
country. Yeah, in Cajun country with that spelling. Um, but it is a small business in the Fan in Richmond. It is a little collective of massage therapists that are, the purpose of it is why I started it really was to give authentic care. I really care about massage, and I think that massage is really amazing medicine. And I wanted to, really just express my authentic uh, care through the name, because that is really what it is. I want people to, you know, to experience a massage by somebody who really cares and is passionate about massage.
Well, and you have some fairly specific techniques that you're skilled in, right? I mean,
Yeah, I do. I started my practice right after I had worked with physical therapists and chiropractors doing clinical massage. So a lot of my background is in clinical work. I for the first 4 years that I was working alongside PTs um, doing uh, giving care to people who had been in car accidents and in really severe pain. And I trained alongside a physical therapist for a while, doing PT techniques, so I can really work with people who are in a lot of pain, and generally speaking can help them get to the root of their pain physically in their muscles. um, and then I started practicing Thai massage, and
yeah.
Thai Thai healing is my love. I really love that work. It approaches the system in a completely different way, and that's what I do more so now.
Can you tell folks a little bit about what's involved with Thai massage?
Yeah. So the main difference between Thai and therapeutic work is Thai massage is obviously from Thailand. It is generally practiced with the client fully clothed on a mat on the floor. And we are performing passive stretching as well as a lot of rhythmic compression and a lot of thumbing of lines, or acupressure really is what people would probably be more familiar with. And then I personally incorporate a lot of therapeutic massage into my Thai work as well. Some people will call Thai massage yoga done to you. Um, it's very effective work.
Clever.
Yeah, it's very effective. Uh, I think people generally are feeling results a lot longer with Thai, um, because the purpose is more so to create space in the body. So instead of kind of like, I'm going to put my elbow here and we're going to sit and we're going to wait for this to release. There's more, let's make sure that all of these muscles have space in between them so we can lengthen the system or lengthen the body.
In addition to Thai, were you, I remember at one point, are you still doing cupping?
Yeah, we're doing cupping too. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So cupping comes into my practice personally through Thai folk healing, which has a lot of influences. One of which is traditional Chinese medicine, and in TCM, that's where cupping comes in. How I was taught in my own practice is, um, in Thai massage, what the practitioner is using, or me rather, what I am using in my Thai practice, there's different ways of going about Thai massage. Um, in this lineage that I practice, we use elements to address the system. So, um, if a person comes in and is feeling really windy, we call it windy. If they're kind of anxious
Yeah.
and talking really fast and a little fidgety or whatever, we kind of use little things in our intake form or our intake session to identify how can we best care for this person on an elemental level. And each of the lines in Thai massage, called sen lines, all along the body, have or correspond to different elements. And so, in with cupping, the element that cupping helps with is water, and it draws water out of the system. And water in that context would be mucus in the lungs. So if you have had a cold recently and are just getting out of that, then we cup the lungs on the back and sometimes on the pecs to draw out water from the system. And there's a lot of other benefits from, cupping got really really popular after Michael Phelps.
Right,
Well,
right.
Phelps had some cupping marks on him, and I always was like, oh well, how about that? He's a swimmer. He like literally is in water all the time. Um, so cupping obviously can release muscle tension as well, which is a lot of why people will come in and get
Is
it.
cupping uncomfortable? I've never had it done to me.
Cupping is
Yeah.
really interesting. It feels like a lot of suction cups are on your back. Like it's not uncomfortable. I think it can be a little pinchy sometimes, but if it is pinchy, then your practitioner should move them.
Because the cups are warmed. Is that right? Is that how that?
So there's two different types of cupping. There's actually three different types of cups now. All of which we practice all of them. So we do fire cupping, which uses fire to create suction. So we just take a glass cup and put fire inside and lay it down on the body so that it will have a warming effect. And then there is suction cups that we just are plastic cups that we put down on the back, and we pull a little
Yeah.
gun and it sucks up your skin into the cup. And then there's also like little silicone cups that we use that are sliding cups. So we actually move them, and they're not always stagnant. They're not in one place.
Is one technique or considered better for some things than others, or is it more kind of user preference?
I think that all of them have benefits. Ultimately, in the purpose of massage, like for what people are coming in for, a lot of the time, any of these cups are gonna bring blood flow to the surface and or to the area, and pull up what in Chinese medicine would call sa, and sa is kind of stagnant blood within the system. So uh, it actually cupping is incredible. Cupping creates new red blood cells in the system and gets rid of old ones.
Hmm. So after someone, what can people expect to feel or notice after a cupping session?
After cupping, I personally, different people will feel different things. Some people don't seem to have any complaints at all, or soreness, but some soreness sometimes for about a day. um, Cupping marks will occur most likely.
Yeah.
um, those cupping marks will last anywhere from 3 to 20 days. I have to say that right. 20, 20, 21 days. Generally speaking, they're lasting for 3 to 5 days on the skin, and you'll get a lot of attention for them. They look far more dramatic than they feel.
So you, I mean, you built this business. You got pretty busy pretty fast, I thought.
I like I said, like I will attribute it to um I really love my job. I really love my job. I care so much, and I put a lot of care in, and I think that when you get a massage like that, by somebody who cares and
Oh
who really
yeah.
and who is present, um that really sells itself.
No, I think it does. And I mean, and I know, we've had this conversation. I just remember your passion, your commitment was very obvious to me from day one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I knew, so I noticed it, and I wasn't even a client.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, wow. So you brought in, you mentioned contractors. So do you have folks working for you now, or
They're not necessarily working for me. I pretty much we are a collective where I wanted to not be people's boss. But I was very overwhelmed with clients, and I mean, very gratefully overwhelmed. I was in a terribly good spot. And um, I didn't know what to do. And I was full. My books were full for months. I was booked out. And I just decided, like, maybe I can start helping other people who are growing their
yeah,
personal independent businesses. So I kind of took on to be like a mentorship, kind of, I would say, with this woman that I work with still, named Rachel. And Moonstone Healing Arts is her business, and she started it, I think, 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I brought her in the space. She started paying rent, and I was like, hey, like, let's set something up where I can help you and you can help me take
Yeah,
some of
right.
these clients, because I can't continue this, you know. I don't want to send my business other places, and I also want to help people who are building their own independent practice.
So did she bring in techniques that were complementary to you?
Yeah, so she practices along the same lines as I do. She practiced Thai massage as well. She did basic Thai, and also, I believe, herbal medicine. So she is really passionate about herbalism, which I do not do. And she did she does more, I would say, um, relaxation massage. My dog.
I hear him.
She does more relaxation massage than kind of therapeutic work. And I started working with her and started teaching her some of the techniques that I learned from the PT. So she knows how to work on hip flexors now, and very detailed neck work, and we get underneath armpits and underneath like subscapularis, different things that some therapists don't feel comfortable doing.
Cool. And so do you have anybody else in? Is it just the two of you at this point, or?
Yeah, so there's one other practitioner that I brought on. It's Jennifer Elmore with Good Self Healing, and she is also just starting her practice in the last year or so, I believe. Um, so she was just brought on, and she works in the front. We all work in the same building, and she does Ayurveda. So she's doing Ayurvedic consultations, which there are very limited options for Ayurvedic consultations in the Richmond area.
Shocked to hear that.
It's really
Not.
right. Like, no, not at all. Yeah, so I'm really excited because there's a lot of, potential for expansion in that area. Like, I feel like we need more practitioners that are.
It's interesting in the gastroenterology literature for irritable bowel that Ayurvedic medicine for the treatment of functional digestive diseases, irritable bowel, is actually has some literature behind it to support it. I
Love,
mean,
yes.
yeah, which I thought was always kind of very cool.
Yeah, I went to India, and I was brought I saw an Ayurvedic doctor when I was there about 3 years ago, and it changed my whole life. Like, the way that they approach medicine is so different than ours, and I think that it is really beautiful to look at the body through this other lens.
Well, that's a great comment. I mean, because I think we all as health practitioners have certain model that we were trained under and certain skills and
Yeah,
that vision and that schema has applicability to some problems but not all problems,
right.
and so understanding different constructs and how to look at health and illness, it is powerful, it's enlightening, and even within one construct, my experiences as a physician, my education, training, and experience as a physician will be very different than that of often of another physician.
Right.
And so kind of recognizing that, one guy never has all the answers, and being able to recognize that. It's interesting because in Western medicine, or at least in this, you got a bunch of people who are used to getting all the little test questions right. You know, if you get a question wrong, you don't get to go to medical school, and your life will be miserable, and you'll rot in hell or something, and your parents will never speak to you. And then what you realize is that as you go through life, the answer of "I don't know"
Oh my
is
God.
like is like
Powerful.
probably the most common thing you wind up saying to folks is like, oh no, I don't know what this is.
You and
I
your
don't
whole
think it's anything
self.
bad, but I don't know what it is. And being, but there's a lot of, man, it's really liberating to say that too.
It
And
is.
go,
It's very important. You're speaking my language right now, looking through the lens of multiple perspectives. I live my life like that. And that's actually how a lot of the time, how I talk to people in my practice too. Like I love to educate people. Like, here's what Thai massage is. Here's how I'm looking at the body through this medicine. Like, and people are fascinated by it. Fascinated. They're just like, wow, I never thought about that, because in Thai, we have traditional Chinese medicine influence. We have indigenous medicine from Thailand and Burma. And then we also have um, of Ayurveda. Like, Ayurveda comes into and is very influenced, and they say like Thai massage is a melting pot of all of these different medicines. And so I got a little taste of what Ayurveda was through my practice in Thai massage and studies of Thai, and it is a lot. I'm not an Ayurvedic practitioner, but I practice that medicine personally, and I think that I love talking to people about it because I think it's really important for them to hear um, a different perspective or a different lens on here's here is a different way to look at your system and all of the inner workings of what's happening. Let's take into consideration your the elements or the balance of elements within your system. And I think that when you start looking at fire, water, wind imbalances, and you can put those into perspective for people, it at least gets their attention sometimes, and maybe will eventually lead to healing in a huge way.
what I think you mentioned spending time educating people, and I think that's such an important part of what we do. It's not
Yeah.
just, oh, well, here's what's wrong, and here, take this pill or do this, and you'll get better. It's like, let me help you understand what I think is going on here. And then if people do become better educated about it and understand what is happening or why they feel the way they feel, it's less frightening, it's less daunting, it's less stressful.
Yeah.
And that's powerful medicine too.
Yeah, I'm always I think my favorite clients to work with are people who are willing to do the work. They can't come in and be dragging their leg and just be like, fix me. I'm just like, man, you gotta you
But
gotta stop
right.
doing this
Well,
to
and
me.
that
Like,
and
not.
that's the thing that always amazes me is I would see this all the time. I look at the healthcare system and I look at what it costs.
Yeah.
What people pay for medications, what people pay for doctor visits, what people pay for tests. And most of what I would see, and I think probably a lot of a lot of disease and illness in this society is self-inflicted. It's bad lifestyle choices, bad diet choices, not owning your problem. And so my thought is, why wouldn't you want to own your problem and do the work yourself? Because if you ate a little better, if you exercised a little bit more,
Yeah.
if you got out in the world and got your face away from a screen for a while and went outside and talked to your neighbors and what, you would be a whole different person.
Mm.
And you know what?
Quite literally.
Yeah, and you might lose weight, right? I mean, you might lose weight and your blood pressure might get better and your diabetes might come under control and you might be less anxious and stressed. And then you're not giving your money to the pharmaceutical industry every month for pills that you don't really need. and you're not really giving your time and your money to the healthcare system for office visits that you could really take care of yourself by just doing the things that we're talking about. Man, the person with the most interest in me being healthy is me. That's how it ought to be. And frankly, why do I want to spend my time and my hard-earned money paying somebody to fix something that I could fix myself? And
And
just my own cheap.
I incorporate, or I include massage into this. Like, it's not always
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals. It can also be alternative care. Like, some people will come to alternative care practitioners and want them to fix them. And I say, like, I say to a majority of my clients, if not all of them, like, if you're in chronic pain, number one, you need to be exercising. Like, if you're not exercising your muscles are, if you're not doing things with your muscles are not going to be happy. And so I think that, there's just, but then there's a lot of other things that have come to I've become more clear on, I guess, as a practitioner of massage for the last 10 years. Like, the more that I work with people, the more I'm just like, there's a lot of people in the world that want an easy fix.
Oh, we all
And
want an easy fix.
easy fix.
I
Like,
love people. I love people to
fix
solve my
me.
problems for me. Right?
Fix me. Yeah. And I'm just like, you got to do the work. I want to teach you how to do the work. This is a collaboration, and if
Yeah.
you're not willing to do it, then don't expect this to work very well, because you got to still take care. You have to just take care, and I can help guide you in caring for yourself, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of suggestions for people, within my own experience, and kind of end up being a coach sometimes with their consent.
Yeah, but I think, I think getting people to buy into their care and is a big part of what we do, and is a big part of long-term success as far as health and wellness.
I one of my favorite things, I think, that massage can bring people, and what I really love so much about my work, is I can bring people back into their body. Like, I can help people arrive in the present moment. And I think that that can be, a hard thing to accomplish for some people, and an emotional experience sometimes for people too, because I think in the world that we live in, we're just going and going and going in this rat race, which is something that the pandemic has changed, luckily, a little bit at least. And I think that it's really amazing how I can help people just be in the present and invite them into their being.
That's really good stuff. That's great. So let me, you, and obviously you're still open for business in the middle of all of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
How do
we
folks
are
get a
now.
hold of you if folks are looking to find True Blue Healing Arts?
Yeah, we have a website. All of our scheduling is online right now. Everything, all of the transactions are all digital. Intake forms are digital now. um, www.truebluehealing.com. It's BLEU, the French
The
spelling of
French
blue.
spelling.
Yeah. And 804-402-4643 is our number.
Awesome. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you, and I'm sure people are going to get a ton of useful information out of this, because it's just power. What you do is powerful stuff.
Thank
So,
you.
and you're good at it. And that concludes another week of Consults Over Coffee. I'm Dr. Michael Jones, and this has been Sophie Laleo from True Bleu Healing Arts. and we'll be back next week.